So you've worked with leaders behind closed doors for years from a counseling perspective and higher ed. And I'm wondering if there's a thread here between the leader who's crushing it at work and in business, and they've 2x their revenue and everything's great. And everyone at work thinks, wow, this guy is amazing. But the rest of their life is falling apart. Their spouse hates them.
Yeah.
Their kids don't even know their dad or their mom. What is the thread between those types of people that what's the advice you give to them, and what is the common ground?
This is hard to say. I watched that extraordinary ESPN documentary on Michael Jordan. And I remember about halfway through it, in light of what you just said, I just worked with high performers. Never worked with Michael Jordan, of course, but I worked with high performers my whole career. And I've walked alongside high performers. And I remember halfway through that documentary, this one word kept coming to mind. For what? Like, for what? For another $20 million, for another $50 million, you can't go to the bathroom in any place other than your hotel room. You can't walk to the lobby and get a Diet Coke because you'll get mobbed. You can't speak in public. You can't laugh in public. You can't hang out with your friends in public. For what? What are we doing all this for, right? And so the most common thing that I've seen over the years is leaders who are running from something and trying to achieve their way to peace, trying to get that amount of money, this business off the ground, this title, so that I can finally go, now I've made it, now I'm worth it, now I'm here. And two things happen. One, when people get to wherever that there is, it's usually 10x harder than they thought and 10x busier than they thought. That's the first one. And two, you've heard me say this a lot, wherever you go, man, you end up. You go with you. And so if you're a scared kid who's still trying to show your dad that you're worth something, or like, oh, I'll show you guys, that guy shows up with $1 million and makes dumb decisions with $1 million, the same as I'd make dumb decisions with $1,000. And so it's folks just running and running and running, trying to achieve and achieve and achieve for the sake of finally being at peace. And that's not where peace comes from. And here's an important caveat, George. When I say that, I often get pushback. Oh, so we're just supposed to chill out and just not even quit? Not at all. In fact, I need people to be super ambitious. We got some major issues in our culture we need to fix, and our world we need to fix, and our finances we got to fix. And my kids are growing up in this. I got skin in the game, right? I need people to be hyper ambitious to solve some of this stuff. But I need them to know two things. You will get further and do better, both for yourself and your legacy, for your company, for your family, if you'll do the hard work at the front end of being well when you're doing this. And the second thing is, this journey, this accomplishment will not heal that hole in your heart. It won't. So be about going to do great things. Go get that stuff, man. God knows we need you to. And don't forget leading yourself along the way. Don't forget healing along the way. Don't forget the practices that keep you grounded and whole and loved and okay along the way.
One of my favorite pieces of advice you've given at our EntreLeadership events is that winning will make you well. And I think a lot of people are chasing the next goal because that's how we're trained as leaders, is to hit the goals, have the results. But it ends up taking us somewhere that we don't really want to go at the end of the day. So it's a super important reminder. So as leaders listen to this, they may be going, well, John, I think I'm leading myself well. There's some things I could improve on. I could sleep better. I could do more of those disciplines. It can be hard to gauge what we need in order to grow as a leader in life and in business. So as we wrap, what questions should we be asking ourselves to become a more aware and comprehensive leader?
That's a great question. I think those questions are actually best asked in community, right? And our community is really good at saying, hey, man, you're not okay if you've got that crew. Hey, man, how much do you guys work out? Because I'm just comparing myself to myself, right? And I think, man, I crushed it this morning. I did 7 minutes on the elliptical, nailed it, right? And then you talk to your buddy and he's like, I did an hour and a half. So there's something about community that helps really put some metrics on that. But I would always want people to go back to some of those basic questions. Am I angry a lot? Do I find myself, like we had some major global issues, crisis happening the last couple of weeks. I've been on my phone more the last 2 weeks than I have the last 2 years, to the point that my wife said, hey, enough. You are here. You're not on the other side of the world. You can do nothing about that. I need you present. And it was a good, oh, man, I teach you this for a living, and I've even gotten sucked into this, what's happening next. And so begin to look at your body. Begin to look at the world that you inhabit. Do you like being around your kids? Do they like being around you? When's the last time you and your wife were intimate? With what regularity? Does she like being around you? Do you like being around her? When's the last time you had a good conversation about what comes next? What's tomorrow going to look like? What's next year going to look like? Are you angry? Do you take care of yourself? Are you having one more drink and one more drink? Are you having one more dessert? Is it taking another pot of coffee in the morning to get going, right? Do you have 2 monster drinks? Like your heart's like 1,100 pounds now because you're just pumping all this stuff through. So begin to look around. These are just basic stuff. Can you not sleep? Do you keep popping awake at 2 a.m., 2 a.m., 2 a.m.? You can't go to bed because your head's spinning. Those are some basic low-level signals that you need to talk to somebody, that you need to begin to care for the operating system here so that when the stressful stuff comes, and it will, you're ready to go.